On this episode, we are going to do a sign for TK's. It's more than just a restaurant, it's also a speakeasy, like an underground bar. And it's a comedy club, it's all three in one. And we're going to do something a little different. It's going to be a backlit logo, and it's just going to say TK's, but it's going to be really sleek. You're really gonna like it. Wait till you see it.
Every day we look at signs. Some are beautiful, others not so much. For a business, any business, a good sign is crucial. So where does a good sign come from? Who creates these tantalizing works of art? In the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex, it's done right here by the people at Signs Manufacturing, the people we call the Sign Dawgs.
Hi, I'm TK Addison. I am the owner of TK's here in Addison. We have a new concept. We have a comedy club with a full restaurant side, a patio by a beautiful pond, a wraparound bar, and an underground speakeasy called Quinn's.
When you're doing a sign for a comedy club, you're supposed to open with a joke, and I'm gonna fail miserably. But with the sign itself, actually, there's a few problems that had to be worked out here. Behind the sign is actually the kitchen. Well, when you make a bunch of individual letters, each letter has its own wire, and that wire has to go through the wall, and then they all get tied together back behind the wall. A little bit difficult to do that in the middle of a kitchen. So that created some issues. So what we decided to do was actually bring the wall out a little bit to make a gap that we could make all those connections in without having to mess up their kitchen and everybody's food. I'm sure all those diners appreciate that. So what we made was a pan, and the pan goes behind the letters themselves, and then the letters mounted to that pan.
One of the reasons I think people will come here is basically we have high-level customer service. I think it's sorely lacking in Dallas, and I believe customer service is so important. People will come back for customer service more than great food, even great drinks, which we have plenty of that. But really, people will come back if they feel that they're being treated special, because I believe every customer that walks through the door is special.
The other issue that we ran into with this sign, or two other issues actually, is that number one, the city wouldn't allow the sign to be as big as the customer needed it to be. They had an ordinance, and the ordinance says that the letters can only be this tall. Well, if you look at the sign, you'll see that the TKs are like this tall. So if we brought that down to this, then the sign would be like this big. It would be crazy small. So we got a little bit creative with it. And what we did is we took their letters and simply cut them in half in the middle and put this teeny tiny gap in between them. Well, now it met the city ordinance, but visually still looked like their logo. And then we made a cover to go over the top of it that the customer could apply later after the city had looked at it and said, yeah, that's good, which would actually make it appear to be one big letter. Sometimes these are the things you have to do to get around the tyranny of the city.
Before we opened this comedy club, my wife and I were living in Los Angeles. We were doing comedy full-time throughout the Hollywood area. And the important thing to know is that we are from Texas. I'm from Garland, she's from Houston, so we knew Texas was going to be a great fit for us. We felt with the pandemic, this was a better place to do business, and Texas wants you to work. They really make it easy for you, as opposed to California, where, no offense, they really don't.
Cool little sign, nothing real fancy or anything. It just gets the job done. It has a really good look to it. First off, you routed out the back plate, and then you built the cabinet behind it, which the back plate mounts to, and then the back plate is actually backlit, so it has LEDs around it. The Gemini letters that we ordered to go on the front of it are basic unlit channel letters, backlit with plastic backing on it, Lexan backing behind it. LEDs are mounted inside to reflect back onto the back plate. Stud mounted off the front of it. You have access doors on the sides of the cabinet to actually get into service the power supply.
We chose this design based on a girl named Shayla who was doing work for us in her PR. She also does logos, and after working with my wife and I, we developed that logo. The reason it says TK's, and it doesn't just say TK's Comedy Club, is there is a stigma to comedy clubs where the food is not good. There's a 2-drink minimum or 2-item minimum. They open up just before the show, and then when you leave, you have to go somewhere else. With us, you don't have to do that. We're a one-stop shop. So there's no minimum. There's no 2-drink or 2-item minimum at all, but food and drink is always available. And we have high-level food. We're the only comedy club with a 5-star rating here in Dallas. And so when you get done, you can go to the bar, you can go to the patio, you can come down to Quinn's, you can have a late-night dinner, whatever you want to do. You don't have to leave our establishment. That's why we created it the way we did.
And then the last problem that we had with these letters is the sign could only stick off the wall so far. And because they wanted the letters to light out the back, they needed to stick off the wall farther than that. Well, I guess that means they can't have a sign. No, what we did actually is we used a new technology that we've come up with called diamond cast. And basically what a diamond cast letter, the difference between a diamond cast letter and a channel letter, normal channel letter, is that the diamond cast letter actually has hundreds of little light points that are embedded in the letter. Whereas the normal letter has a bunch of modules that are in the letter. Well, the modules are spread out a little bit, so they need some depth to the letter to spread the light out enough so that it lights right. Whereas with the diamond cast letters, we can make them that thin. And so that allowed us to get the letters, squeeze them to get them back to the wall enough and still have it work.
They went out and installed the sign, customer liked it and did the job good. They were fired up, ready to open up, and they were already in business, so they got the sign up, looks really good.
Well, the way the sign was designed, I think it looks beautiful. It's illuminated the way we want it to be done. And I think not having Comedy Club on there, people are going to come in here not sure knowing what it is, but they'll discover sometimes, oh my God, there's a Comedy Club, wait, there's a speakeasy. If they go to our website, they're going to know. But I like the way the sign was designed because I think it draws people to us, and it's going to be great for what we want to get done. I think the best thing I can describe is why we work with sign manufacturing. And the best thing about them was Nancy was constantly in contact with us, also getting in contact with the city, doing a lot of the groundwork, where we've dealt with other people on other projects where we had to go in and do the middleman, where she and sign manufacturers just took care of everything. They were amazing. We didn't have to worry about anything. We knew they were going to get it done. If people want to know more about us, they can go to tkscomedy.com. That's tkscomedy.com for all show information, all upcoming events, everything about us, and they can also go to our Instagram and Facebook at TK's Comedy.
We are going to do something a little unusual. We have a lounge in Dallas called The Commission, and it is located behind another building, so it doesn't really even have frontage on a street. So we're going to mount their sign on a fence that does have visibility from the road so that people know where to go to find the Commission Lounge in Dallas.